You know that feeling of being disconnected? Kind of like you're just one single grain of sand on a massive, endless beach? Well, today, we're diving deep into a work that tackles that feeling head-on. It's Walter Russell's The Message of the Divine Iliad. And honestly, it's not really a typical book. It's more like a cosmic download, a really powerful philosophy about our true place in the universe.
At its heart, this book is designed to completely flip our everyday perception of reality on its head. It puts forward this pretty radical idea that everything, and I mean everything in the universe, God, the stars, you, me, it's all fundamentally, undeniably one.
But before we get all cosmic, Russell brings it right back down to earth. He starts with a deeply human question, one that I think gets to the core of so much of our suffering. If this universe is all connected, why do we so often feel completely and utterly alone?
So to figure this out, we're going to walk through 5 key ideas from his work. We'll kick things off with the problem he says we all face, this illusion of separation. Then we'll get into his vision of reality, how we perceive it, the law that runs the whole show, and finally, what all of this means for the future of humanity.
All right, first up, the illusion of separation. Russell basically argues that the biggest mistake we make in our thinking is this belief that we're all these isolated individuals, totally cut off from everything and everyone else. He says that this feeling, that you are you, I am me, and the world is just a bunch of separate things, that's the root illusion we have to get over. He claims it's the actual source of our fear, our conflict, and our loneliness.
And Russell does not mince words here. With this quote, he's pretty much saying, look, if you read my book and you still see a world of separate things, if you still think I am I and you are you, then I've completely failed. The whole point is to see past that illusion to the unity that's underneath it all.
Okay, so if being separate is just one big illusion, then what's actually real? Well, that brings us to Russell's answer, this concept of the universal one. He uses a really simple but powerful metaphor to explain this. He asks, is a beach just a bunch of separate grains of sand? Or is all the sand together what makes the beach? He argues we're not the grains of sand. We are the beach, a single thing that just looks like it's made of countless separate parts.
He calls this reality the universal one. You can think of it as God, or source, or just universal consciousness. It's an idea you see in a lot of Eastern philosophies. It's this single, still light of pure knowing. And in this view, everything we see and experience, stars, people, a blade of grass, it's all just an idea being projected out from this one unified source.
All right, that's a fair question, right? If we're all part of this universal one, why don't we feel it all the time? Well, Russell says it all comes down to 2 totally different ways we have of perceiving the world: knowing versus sensing.
And his whole explanation really hangs on this difference. So, on one side, you've got sensing. This is what our physical bodies do: seeing, hearing, touching. It shows us a world of separate, moving things, which Russell calls the illusion. And that leads to fear, right? Because we see threats, we see competition. But then, on the other side, you have knowing. This is perception through our mind, our spirit. It's what lets us perceive that underlying unity, the one source. And that naturally leads to love, because you realize there's no other to be afraid of.
Russell really emphasizes that as long as we're trapped in just sensing, identifying only with our physical body, this man of clay as he calls it, we're just unaware of that deeper, unified reality, the love, the connection. It's always there, right at our center, but our physical senses just can't pick it up.
So, if the universe is this single, unified thing, how does it all work? What are the rules of the game? Well, Russell says there's one simple, elegant principle that governs everything: the law of balance.
He calls this the law of rhythmic balanced interchange. It sounds complicated, but it's pretty simple. The entire universe works on a constant, balanced cycle of giving and then re-giving. Nothing is ever just taken. Every single action is part of a two-way flow that keeps everything in perfect balance. A perfect example of this is the sun and the earth. The sun just gives its energy, light, heat, life unconditionally. The earth receives it, and in turn, it re-gives that energy by creating life, which then continues the whole cosmic cycle. It's a perfect, balanced exchange.
And according to Russell, when this law gets violated, when there's taking without giving or giving without receiving, unbalance is what you get. In nature, that looks like disasters. In our bodies, it's sickness. And in our lives and our societies, it shows up as greed, conflict, and ultimately war.
They're all just symptoms of a broken cycle.
So, after laying out the problem, the reality, and the law that governs it all, Russell ends with this really incredible vision of our potential. He calls it the dawn of cosmic man.
So what does he mean by that? He truly believed that humanity is right on the edge of this massive evolutionary leap in consciousness, that we're about to move beyond our limited, fear-based sense consciousness and wake up to what he called cosmic consciousness, a state where we don't just believe, but we know our unity with the Universal One.
And he didn't see this as some distant sci-fi fantasy. He felt this transformation was already starting. This new cosmic man wouldn't just think about unity as a nice idea. They would live it, truly embodying the understanding that all of humanity is basically a single organism.
And look, this isn't just about feeling good on your own. The ultimate goal here is super practical. It's about building a world that's actually based on the law of balance, a world where we get that harming another person or another nation or the planet is literally harming ourselves, because there is no other.
So in the end, Russell's message is this direct challenge to our most basic ideas about who we are. He's asking us to trade in our identity as a lonely grain of sand for the reality of being the entire beach. And it leaves us with a really powerful question to think about. What would actually change in your life, in our world, if we all started living as if we really were all one?